typical intercostal nerve. Next we move on to atypical intercostal nerve. These nerves are somewhat different. Why I have kept this picture here? See, we know that first spinal nerve, that is first thoracic spinal nerve, which is T1. After emerging, it goes and joins with the lower trunk of brachial plexus. Since it is a constituent of brachial plexus, lower part is so small and does not have any significant function. Also, it supplies that outside of the thoracic cavity, that is towards the upper limb. So it came into the atypical intercostal nerve. So T1 gives a branch to the lower trunk of brachial plexus. Next, what about T2? Second intercostal nerve. After origin, it goes along the costal groove, but when it reaching the mid-axillary line, it gives another cutaneous branch. It tries to give the lateral cutaneous branch, but it merges with the medial cutaneous nerve of arm. Okay. So this nerve, intercostobrachial nerve, because it arising from the intercostal space and entering into the brachium. Brachium means arm. So this is called as intercostobrachial nerve. This nerve is very, very important as during heart attack, that is myocardial infarction. We feel pain in the left arm, that is in the medial aspect of the left arm, because of this nerve. This nerve carries the pain sensation from the thoracic cage to the medial cutaneous nerve of arm, which is supplying the medial part of arm, skin of the medial part of arm. So we feel the pain in the myocardial infarction. It is a very important sign. Since it supplies outside of the thoracic cavity, it also came into the atypical intercostal nerve. Next, what about the other nerves, T7 to T11? These nerves are collectively called as thoraco-abdominal nerves. Why? Because it does not supply only to their confined spaces, but also to the anterior abdominal wall. When you read abdomen, you will see that in the anterior abdominal wall, all the anterior and lateral cutaneous branches of these nerves supply the anterior abdominal wall, that is skin over the abdomen. So they all came into atypical intercostal nerve. Thus we are completing the intercostal nerves. Now we have various clinical correlations for these intercostal nerves. First of all, root pain. What is root pain? Root pain is otherwise called as girdle pain, which is the pain that arises from the root of the spinal nerve. See here, any damage in the root of the spinal nerve will carry the pain to all over these areas that is supplied by this nerve. So there will be severe pain in the when there is any compression in the root of the spinal nerve, which is also occurs due to tuberculosis, as pus accumulates in the intervertebral space, so that it compressing the root of the nerve. Okay, then another one is the intercostal nerve block. Here, by inserting intercostal nerve block, they will approach the aspect of lateral part of the body, just lateral to vertebral column, because at this site the roots emerge and enter into the intercostal space. So to block the entire intercostal nerve, this anesthetic agent is introduced into the root of the intercostal nerve. So it is called as intercostal nerve block, which blocks all the sensations that arise from the intercostal nerve. Okay, now how to insert a needle? As we see here, there are neurovascular bundle just below the rib and also just above the rib below. So where to insert all these needles for any other aspiration purpose? Aspiration, so in collection of fluid from a cavity somewhat. So where to insert this needle? Usually we should insert the needle just above the rib below. Why is it? Because this neurovascular bundle van structure is very, very important. We should not damage these structures. Collaterals are very small branches. Okay, so these are somewhat large branches in compared to this. So while inserting a needle just below the rib, it will damage this neurovascular bundle. So we should just insert the needle above to the rib below. Okay, so that neurovascular bundle is safe. Next, herpes zoster. Herpes zoster is a viral infection which infects all over the area supplied by the intercostal nerve. See here, this intercostal space is supplied just by one intercostal nerve. All the areas supplied by this nerve is affected. Here all the lesions present along the area of distribution of this spinal nerve. Thoracotomy is also done in the intercostal spaces. And the site of cold abscess, see here, the tuberculosis, there will be destruction of the bone, so that there will be collection of pus in certain regions. These abscesses are called as cold abscess. Okay, so these are collected in the just lateral to erector spinae. Erector spinae is a muscle that lies along the vertebral column, so lies lateral to the erector spinae. Then the mid-axillary line, the lateral cutaneous branch emerges. Then on the lateral to the sternum, where the anterior cutaneous branch emerges. So these are the sites where there will be abscess collection, that is the pus from the tuberculosis gets collected. So these are the clinical correlations that is present in the thoracic cavity, that is the intercostal nerves. Next we are going to see about the intercostal vessels, that is intercostal arteries and intercostal veins. First let us see about the intercostal arteries. Intercostal arteries, there are two types of intercostal arteries, anterior and posterior intercostal arteries. Each intercostal space contains one posterior intercostal artery and two anterior intercostal artery. The main artery supplying the intercostal spaces is the posterior intercostal artery, and the minor fraction is played by the anterior intercostal artery. Since there are two anterior intercostal arteries in each space, they are arranged as upper anterior and lower anterior intercostal arteries. First of all, let's see about intercostal arteries. It has a variety of origin. First and second posterior intercostal arteries. See here, the first and second posterior intercostal arteries arise from the superior intercostal artery, that is arises from above. So it is called a superior intercostal artery, which is a branch of costocervical trunk of subclavian artery. Okay, so the first two intercostal arteries arise from the costocervical trunk, which arises from the subclavian artery. When you will read about subclavian artery in the head and neck, so that time you will come to know about costocervical trunk. But remember, first and second intercostal arteries arise from the costocervical trunk. All the other arteries arise from the descending thoracic aorta, okay, including subcostal artery. See here, this picture also depicts the same thing. Termination is at the costochondral junction by anastomosing with the upper anterior intercostal artery. This is origin and termination of posterior intercostal arteries. Then let us see about the branches. It gives a dorsal branch that supplies the dorsal aspect of the thoracic cavity. Then a collateral branch. Collateral branch supplies the, it is similar to that of the collateral branch of intercostal nerve. Okay, so posterior intercostal artery gives a collateral branch that runs along the course of the posterior intercostal artery and reaches the, and on the anterior aspect, on reaching it, anastomoses with the lower anterior intercostal artery. So main trunk of the posterior intercostal artery anastomoses with the upper anterior intercostal artery, while the collateral branch of posterior intercostal artery anastomoses with the lower anterior intercostal artery. This collateral branch supplies the various muscles of the intercostal space as well as muscles of scapula. Then muscular branch. Muscular branch supplies the other muscles that are present around the thoracic cavity. Lateral cutaneous branch. It also arises as the same type as of the intercostal nerve, where it also pierces along with the intercostal nerve, that is lateral cutaneous branch of the intercostal nerve. It also pierces the mid-axillary line, that is the skin or the skin along the mid-axillary line, to emerge out on the lateral surface of the thorax. Then mammary branch. It is the very important branch because it supplies the mammary gland. Okay, it is one of the main blood supply of a mammary gland. That is its second to fourth intercostal arteries. Second to fourth posterior intercostal arteries give this mammary branch. Right bronchial artery arises on the right side only from the fourth intercostal artery. Here we have one clinical correlation where these posterior intercostal arteries are much highly enlarged in a condition called coarctation of aorta. Coarctation of aorta means there is a condition in which a part of aorta gets so much narrowed so that the blood supply is very much reduced. So to contradict this, these posterior intercostal arteries form an anastomotic channel through which a large amount of blood passes through, which causes these posterior intercostal arteries to get very much enlarged. They will, while passing through the costal groove, it gives an impression on the bone. Okay, this is a very important clinical correlation of posterior intercostal artery. So we saw the origin, termination, branches and the clinical correlation of this posterior intercostal arteries. Now let us see about its course. See here. Here I have depicted the lower part, that is other than the first two intercostal arteries, we can others arise from the thoracic aorta, that is descending thoracic aorta. Okay, after origin, it we'll see on the right posterior intercostal artery first. The right posterior intercostal artery passes behind the esophagus and thoracic duct and in front of the vertebral body, and passes laterally in front of on dorsal aspect of azygos vein and sympathetic chain, and then goes towards laterally into the intercostal space, that is in the costal groove, gives it branches and anastomoses with the upper anterior intercostal artery of the same space. Okay, on its way it gives a collateral branch, lateral cutaneous branch. Similarly, on the left side, we can see that after origin, it passes just behind the hemiazygos vein and accessory hemiazygos vein, and also the sympathetic chain on the left side, and passes anterior to the vertebral body, then goes laterally to the costal groove and terminates by anastomosing with the upper anterior intercostal artery of same space. Thus, these two sides are different because they arise from the thoracic aorta, which is present slightly to the left. The right posterior intercostal artery has a much longer course than the left posterior intercostal artery, and hence it has a variety of relations. Okay, not much to worry. If you remember this diagram, it will be very easy for remembering the intercostal arteries. Okay, thus we finish the posterior intercostal artery. Next we see about the anterior intercostal artery. Very important point to note here is anterior intercostal artery lies just on the upper 9 intercostal spaces only. Why is it? Because the 11th and 12th ribs are so short so that they does not appear anteriorly. So for those two spaces it does not arise. So 11 minus 2 becomes 9. So from the upper 9 intercostal spaces, anterior intercostal arteries are present. They are present 2 for each space, as we saw in this picture. See, it is depicting the same space, while one is the upper anterior intercostal artery and another one is the lower anterior intercostal artery. Origin is from 1st to 6th space from the internal mammary artery, which is none other than internal thoracic artery. Then from 7th to 9th space from musculophrenic artery. Why is it differentiated as it? Because the internal thoracic artery divides into two, that is musculophrenic artery and superior epigastric artery, these two arteries. So while dividing it, it gives origin from the musculophrenic artery. See the name musculophrenic, that is supplying the muscles as well as phrenic means diaphragm. So supplying the muscles as well as diaphragm is that is the name of the artery. So musculophrenic artery from the 7th to 9th space supplies the anterior intercostal artery, and from for first 6 spaces internal thoracic artery which lies along the either side of sternum. So it directly supplies the anterior intercostal arteries for the first 6 spaces. Okay, termination. As we saw in the posterior intercostal arteries, the upper branch anastomosis with the posterior intercostal artery, and the lower branch anastomosis with the collateral of the posterior intercostal artery. So we are finishing here the origin and the termination of this intercostal arteries. Then let us go into the intercostal veins. Intercostal veins have a special property which I will say in later. Or let us discuss it. But most of the thing it is same as the intercostal arteries. Okay. So similarly they have 2 anterior and 1 posterior intercostal vein for each intercostal space. Just name changes as artery into vein here for writing the exams. First let us see about the anterior intercostal veins. They are present in the 9 spaces, accompany the anterior intercostal arteries. Termination. Similar, those names which are similar to the artery apply to the vein here. Okay. So upper 6 spaces end in the thoracic, internal thoracic vein, while 7th to 9th space in the musculophrenic vein, which is similar to that of the anterior intercostal arteries. So this is about the anterior intercostal veins. See here, it is divided into superior epigastric and musculophrenic veins. Okay, this musculophrenic vein gives its termination to the 7th to 9th spaces of intercostal veins. These are the anterior intercostal veins. Then let's see about the most important posterior intercostal vein. Similar to the posterior intercostal artery, all are same. They are present in all the spaces. Okay, one in each space accompanying the artery. But here there is a differentiation in the termination of these posterior intercostal veins. For it is different in the left side and the right side. Okay, see, the first vein drains into the brachiocephalic vein. See here, the first vein drains directly into the brachiocephalic vein on the right side here, and here on the left side. So left on the left side, the first intercostal vein drains into the brachiocephalic vein. Okay, then second, third and fourth veins form superior intercostal vein, as we saw in the artery. See here, their first and second intercostal arteries, posterior intercostal artery, form superior intercostal artery, but here 2, 3 and 4, okay, 2, 3 and 4 form the superior intercostal vein. Okay, see here, 2, 3 and 4 forming the intercostal vein, superior intercostal vein, which on the right side, we always remember azygos vein present on the right side. If we remember only this, then we cannot be confused between the azygos, hemiazygos. Okay, so azygos is always on the right. So 2, 3, 4, these intercostal veins drain directly into the azygos vein. Okay, while here on the left side 2, 3, 4 drain again onto the brachiocephalic veins, because here we do not find any azygos vein. That is, we have hemiazygos and accessory hemiazygos. Since we don't have a azygos vein, remember like that. Okay, since we don't have a azygos vein, it directly drains into the brachiocephalic vein. That is on the left side. Okay, on the right side, the superior intercostal vein drains into the azygos vein. Okay, all the other drained by azygos and the hemiazygos system of veins. On the right side, 5th to 11th intercostal veins drain into the azygos vein directly, while here 5th to 8th drain into the accessory hemiazygos, and 9th to 11th along with the subcostal vein drain into the hemiazygos vein. Okay, these are the termination of posterior intercostal veins. Just read it once in your textbook, or otherwise rewrite and watch this video to understand it completely. Okay, because Posterior intercostal vein are a very very important ways of transmission of cancer from breast to the brain. Okay, how is this possible? Because this posterior intercostal veins, okay, from origin takes over it to the the azygos vein, but some of these veins have its contact with the vertebral venous plexus that is present along the vertebral column, that is both inside and outside of the vertebral column. We have internal the external venous plexus of external vertebral venous plexus. So on transmission of the metastatic cell, that is the cancerous cell, on transferring from breast into the posterior intercostal veins, goes towards the vertebral venous plexus, which reaches till the brain. So cancer spread from breast to brain is possible by this posterior intercostal veins. So it is very much necessary to read the termination of posterior intercostal veins. Okay, then we are coming to the last topic of this intercostal space, that is the lymphatics. Lymphatics is somewhat simple because anteriorly internal mammary nodes, we have already seen it in the breast. So it drains into internal mammary nodes drain the medial aspect of upper and lower quadrants of breast, right? Then these internal mammary nodes drain into the tracheobronchial and brachiocephalic nodes. Okay, and these tracheobronchial means present along the trachea and the bronchus, that is the part of bronchi dividing from the trachea. Okay, tracheobronchial nodes and the brachiocephalic nodes present near the arm and the neck. Okay, they drain into the bronchomediastinal trunk. Bronchomediastinal trunk, broncho means bronchi and mediastinum means it is covering near it is a place cavity present between two lungs. Okay, this space called as mediastinum. Bronchomediastinal trunk, there is a trunk which is formed, lymphatic trunk, which is formed from the brachiocephalic nodes to the subclavian trunk. Okay, thus it goes from the anterior aspect into the internal mammary nodes, then tracheobronchial nodes and bronchomediastinal trunk, then subclavian trunk. Subclavian trunk only is on the right side, so on the left side it drains directly into the thoracic duct. Okay, this is what happens in the anteriorly. Posteriorly, it drains into the posterior intercostal nodes, which drains into the lower four spaces called as cisterna chyli. See here, posterior intercostal nodes drain into the cisterna chyli, that is present on the lower aspect, while the upper posterior intercostal nodes drain directly into the thoracic duct. Okay, only these lower four spaces intercostal nodes, they drain into the cisterna chyli, which is a sac-like structure that collects lymph and sends it through to the thoracic duct. Okay, so for lower four spaces they drain into the cisterna chyli, while other spaces drain directly into the thoracic duct. That is on the left side. On the right side they drain into the subclavian trunk. Okay, lymph nodes present, we already saw posterior intercostal nodes near the neck of the rib and the internal mammary nodes along the internal thoracic artery. See, these nodes are always present mainly in the locations that are nearer to that of the either the artery or to the vein. Okay, just remember this point. Thus we finish all the intercostal spaces. Okay, let us see a brief outcome of all this. So first we saw about intercostal muscles. External intercostal muscle arises from the costochondral junction to the tubercle of the rib. Internal intercostal muscle arises from the sternum to that of the angle of the rib. Then transversus thoracis, three muscles, subcostalis posteriorly, sternocostal anteriorly, and intercostalis intimus on the middle 2/4. Okay, then we saw the intercostal nerve with branches, relations. See, this is the lateral cutaneous branch called lateral branch, anterior cutaneous branch, and other than this, the sympathetic trunk gives branches, and as well as it gives muscular branches. In intercostal arteries, here we can see the posterior intercostal artery and the anterior intercostal artery. Posterior intercostal artery has its relations here. When you draw and practice this diagram, it will be very easy to remember these relations other than rote learning. It gives various branches like collateral branch, lateral cutaneous branch, mammary branches and bronchial branches, and terminates by anastomosing with the anterior intercostal arteries. Collateral branch with the lower and main posterior intercostal artery with the upper anterior intercostal artery. Then see venous drainage. This is the posterior part of the venous drainage, where posterior intercostal vein, first one directly drains into the brachiocephalic veins, and 2, 3, 4 together form the superior intercostal vein that drains on the right side into the azygos, because azygos is present on the right. So this superior intercostal vein drains into the azygos. Here azygos is not present, so they drain directly into the brachiocephalic vein. Then all the others drain into on the right side to the azygos, on the left side to the axillary hemiazygos and the hemiazygos vein. Okay, this is the venous drainage. Then for lymphatic drainage, posterior intercostal nodes, usually the lower 4 intercostal nodes drain into the cisterna chyli, which drains to the thoracic duct, while others drain directly into the thoracic duct when present on the left side, and right subclavian trunk present on the right side. Thus, we learnt about all the structures present in the intercostal space. Thank you.